back to another episode of The Drive brought to you by oddschecker. I'm Andy Lack, and with me is Geoff Fienberg. Jeffrey, how are you doing on this Monday afternoon, evening for you?
I'm doing well, Andy, doing well. I don't can't seem to get into my Twitter account, but it's not sending out like hack bot tweets, so that's a bit of a positive, and hopefully I get a hold of that sooner than later. But other than that, I got no complaints. A little bit of a soft spot in the golf schedule, but there
Sure.
should just like every week, there's an opportunity.
That's what I say, man. Little bit of a soft spot, I would agree, but you were doing these videos with me during the fall swing, and you can recall how much those events were my bread and butter. So I always look at these smaller field events. Listen, I'm going to Vegas this weekend with my girlfriend. Can't tell you how much I'm actually going to watch of Mexico, but in terms of my pre-tournament research, I put just as much effort into these events as I would the Masters, because I think the concept of these lesser known players, Geoff, a lot of folks saying, I'm not really willing to do the legwork on Grayson Sig's recent ball striking stats. Well, I am. That's what we're here for. So I see this week as an opportunity. I'm fired up. My betting card's done. I've got 8 guys I've
Ooh,
already bet. So
let's
wherever you
go.
want to start, and none of them below 35. So wherever you want to start, I'm ready to fire it up. I guess we'd probably start at the top and have a Finau, Hojgaard, Grio quick conversation. None of them for me, sir.
Yeah, none of them for me. And a lot of sort of golf offerings in the off season, repeat champions. There were some inflated Finau numbers that I know people had. I don't know, I never played him. I wasn't even confident he would be here. It's been a lot of golf for Finau lately. Maybe the only thing that will stop him is fatigue. But what's stopping me is I'm not playing this number. I'm not really interested in the other guys you mentioned yet as well. I haven't made 8 bets. I want to say I've made 4, and from about 30 to 1 all the way to 170 to 1. So like you, Andy, I ran a bit of a gamut, but still room for more for me. So you could talk me into just about anybody.
Well, let's start. We'll start with the first guy that I've bet and kind of go in descending order. Your man, Taylor Pendrith, 33 to 1.
With
Canadian.
you.
Yeah,
Tell the people you'll do a better job than I will.
yep, there were 35s out there this morning. I missed that waking up on the West Coast. I caught a 33, which I was still pleased with. He's down to 28 now, which I don't mind either, but this is a guy that you want to play on long, driver heavy, wide open resort courses. This guy raises his baseline on slower greens. He's coming off a ninth at Torrey Pines. That's another wide open driver heavy golf course with a lower miss fairway penalty. Great long iron player. I just think Pendy gets it done this week. This was a President's Cup member that's starting to show some really, really solid, strong signs. And I thought 35 to 1 on him was a really pretty fair number compared to some of the other guys in this range.
You did the hard sell on Pendrith. I'm with them as well. That I was able to pull those 35s. I don't mind it. I think you could still enhance it up to 30 at Bet 365 at Bet Rivers. The shorter play for me as well this week, Andy, is a guy that you've touted a lot. I don't know that I've ever actually bet him, but I'm on the wagon this week. Stephan Jaeger.
Yeah.
I think he off just an atrocious AT&T Pebble Beach. Like it's just a sea of red if you're looking at him and the stats. But everything before that is all systems go green, including that third at Farmers where he was just magnificent. Tee to green, strokes gained total. You are hoping for the putter to get hot here as well, but I'll give you a little Jaeger betting tip. Hopefully it still exists when you're watching this. He is 22 to 1 now across the board. He opened
Yeah.
at 28 in some spots. On Bet Rivers, if you have access to Bet Rivers, they have an enhanced betting option which takes away each ways. It usually adds a point or two to a golfer. For whatever reason, in the enhanced betting option at Bet Rivers, it's still, when we're recording this, I think it'll still be there in the morning when this is up. Jaeger's 30-1. So that's the number that I pulled. It's still available now. It's been there all day. Hasn't really correlated to how they use their enhanced offerings with other guys. Strange, but it's hey, encourage you to find the best number. Sometimes I'm doing deeper digging to find it. So that's it for me. Pendrith and Stephan Jaeger, who I believe this could be the opportunity for him to lift that PGA trophy. I got two more bets a little deeper down the card, Andy. I know you've got a handful, so get through them.
Yeah. So the next guy I want to mention, it feels like another Geoff Fienberg all-star just from, knowing your tendencies and been talking golf with you for however many years at this point. But if my memory serves me correctly, you're a Davis Thompson guy.
I
Am I
do
correct
like,
on that?
yeah,
This is the
let's go.
week,
I'm seeing
man.
him
This
still as
better be
hot.
the week.
That wouldn't shock me one bit. They're still for a market looking at the grid on Davis, Andy. He is still at Bet Rivers available at 45-1, as low
Yeah.
as 35-1. I know there were some 50s out of the gate, but still
Yeah.
45-1 available on Davis Thompson, who you sell me because I could be all in here.
Yeah, I bet him at 45. I'm pretty comfortable with the 40s as well. Um, this is another, I mean, Davis Thompson was the number one ranked amateur in the world at one point. He was a highly touted player coming out of Georgia. He feels like he's really starting to find his footing on the PGA Tour. He's coming off a 15th in Phoenix, where he gained over 4 strokes on approach, a stroke off the tee, coming from the wrong side of the wave in Phoenix as well. So he had to overcome a 3-stroke weather disadvantage, and he still finished 15th. Now you get him on a wide open driver heavy golf course. He's top 12 in this field in strokes gain off the tee on these types of golf courses and in long iron play, 200 yards plus proximity. So I think it's a great breakout spot for Thompson, like, especially if you're kind of the mindset that you and I are of, in the, I just can't trust Finau's putter enough for us to get kind of a repeat uh Mexico outcome like we've seen the past couple of years. First of all, that's not going to happen because we don't have Rom. And second of all, I don't think Finau's the player that he was at this current moment in time based on his putter.
Fair.
So I think that, starting with these guys in the 30s and 40s and kind of working your way down is a strategy I feel pretty comfortable with this week.
You mentioned that putter, and I don't want to pick holes, but even the broadcast, it's like having a seizure before an 8-footer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's alarming.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can figure it out. I love Tony. I just don't need him winning as this chalk. Hopefully, I'm hoping he's just there for a big family vacation. Not gonna lie, Andy. But you've been on on Thompson, on Pendrith.
Can I ask you one quick
Yeah,
question, not to detour us too badly? You can just rapid fire this, but it's something I was thinking of today. Who do you think is more likely to make some sort of putting change, whether it's grip, a new coach, mallet, broomstick, whatever, before the Masters? Finau or Scheffler? Because part of me is like, I feel like both those guys have to be at rock bottom, and I feel like they're stagnant. They're too stubborn to do anything. And if they roll to Augusta with the status quo, like, how much more of a sample size do you guys need? This has been a problem for a year.
Yeah, I don't think either of them is making a change
I
before
think I
Augusta.
agree with you.
If I had to bet on who might be less stubborn, it'd probably be Scheffler. Finau's a bit older. He might just, he was a Golf Channel, reality like his story. So he's like, I've already succeeded like 10 times what I ever should have. Scheffler is truly an under, but yes, Finau could have won more for his talent, but I don't think we're going to look at him as like an underachiever when you look at the totality of his story. Scheffler is truly screwing up Tiger stats. So that's the one that you'll never get rapid fire from me on that sort of question.
Okay. Sorry for derailing us. I just wanted to hear your opinion.
It's fair. It's very topical and it's painful, as they're both very likable, easy to cheer for, and you get cringy for them, like watching them try to convert short ones or anything at this point.
Okay, I'm gonna give you kind of a potpourri of these guys in the 50s, 60s, 70s, up to 90. and then you tell me if any of them has your attention. I bet Doug Gim at 60-1. I bet Johnny Vegas at 66.
Yeah.
I bet Vincent Norman at 80-1. And I bet Sam Stevens at 90-1. So I would say probably like most, you can tell I'm pretty in on the bomber narrative, and you can call it the obvious chalk way to do it, but as somebody that spends hours staring at data, like sometimes the chalk narrative is correct. The correlation here between driving distance and long iron play is stronger than potentially any other golf course on tour.
So of all those that you did mention, it probably would be Doug Gim that
Yeah.
would have my
Playing
attention the
great.
most. I do like the Vincent Norman shout.
Yeah.
Oberg's roommate, he's got a, add to the house fund. He's got to win himself. That one, I could see why Vegas is really popular. There's a lot of things that add there, and Stevens is fun, and that one makes sense as well. Can I tell you where I played in this range, Andy?
Yes.
70-1 for me. I think it's still 60, 65 on that grid, even 70 spotting here over at FanDuel. Off his sixth place in Phoenix, Mav McNealy. Mav
Sure.
McNealy, obviously the injury plagued a big part of that last season, but it was great to see him do well in Phoenix. Obviously, he was like a popular long shot, I think, at Pebble, but he's had a pretty consistent year. He's a deadly putter. I think these conditions will suit him quite well. So Mav McNealy would be my third play. We've named a lot of names here. I've got a bomb. I'm sure you've got more than one.
I've got two bombs. I got a guy at 110 and a guy at 120. Give me yours first.
Okay, I'm gonna find the most current number here. It's still 150. I played it at 170. You mentioned Davis Thompson has my heart. So in some way, this is too. I love it, chasing the talent, chasing the ceiling, Andy. Adrian Dumont de Chassault, ADDC.
Yeah.
I'm coming for it. I'm just trying to think maybe the talent can bully this field. He's made a caddy change. Some positive incremental gains are being made there. Not quite the splash that we potentially wanted to see or have seen from other young players, but I'm just totally in on the potential here and the number versus the field. So that's my big bum.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried. I was joking about this, so I say this kind of
Uh-oh.
tongue in cheek,
What are we
but
doing?
I'm kind of worried that Matthew Pavone market corrected ADDC. Like, what if Matthew Pavone is unfortunately what everybody wanted
Where
ADDC
am I? See,
to
now I
be?
feel silly. I'll out myself. Like Pavone is here. What are we doing?
No, he's not here. He's
Oh,
just leading the FedEx Cup in February.
oh, okay, yeah, and he's been great. He's so good. He turned down an invitation from Tiger. Like, I get you on Farmers, buddy. I get you've been away from home, but that's like who guys just you go to the Riv to finish last.
I was wondering why he wasn't in
Yeah,
LA.
no, I said just no.
Pavone's too cool for
Yeah,
Riv now.
yeah, too cool for Riv, too cool for Tiger. Credit to him. You got the bank account or the situation to call that shot, but I didn't know where you're going there with Pavone, who seems deadly when he's teeing it up these days.
So I will finish off with Carson Young, 110.
Okay. Yeah, deadly.
Such a sucker for that
I
guy.
thought you were gonna also say Grayson Sig the way you sort of
I am.
teased him.
Grayson
Okay.
Sick,
Yeah.
Grayson Sick 120.
Yeah,
We've been doing this for a long time.
Grayson Sig, I'll just shout out the odds checker grid as high as 120, as low as 60.
Wow.
I've shouted out Bet Rivers a few times on the show. They're at the bottom of the barrel in the Grayson Sig market here, but yeah. So hey, if you're gonna get in on that Grayson Sig market, use the grid. Make sure you're doubling your money.
Both players are playing sneaky well from a ball striking standpoint and can be found at triple digits in this field, have had success before on wide open resort tropical golf courses like Corrales and El Cardinal. So I think there's a lot of value in taking those guys in the triple digits. Anyone else you want to touch on that we haven't mentioned, Geoff?
No, I'm that's about it for me. I'll read them off. I've played Jaeger, I've played Pendrith, I've played McNealy, and I've played ADDC, and I was swimming around Gim and Davis Thompson. So that maybe could be where I land in the middle of that board as well. Lighter exposure. It's Mexico. We're throwing some darts here. You
Yeah.
mentioned this is where you butter your bread. The variance of who can pull this thing down once, if you
Yeah.
don't believe in Finau feels quite enormous.
I agree with that. Which is not going to stop us from trying,
No,
right? So on my
of course
cards
not.
full, Pendrith 33, Davis Thompson 45, Gim 60, Johnny Vegas 66, Vincent Norman 80-1, Sam Stevens 90-1, Carson Young 110, Grayson Sig 120. How funny would it be, Geoff, if we're bemoaning every single week how why isn't the top of the board winning anymore? And even last week, I know Hideki is a very decorated and worthy champion. It doesn't feel like a long shot, but the dude was still 80-1 with very little form. How weird is it going to feel if, like, the 1 week where it actually makes sense to bet all of the long shots, Finau just wins by like 5 at 7-1? Like, that's the way golf betting is going this year.
And I don't like the week early, in any sort of sports gambling, but I feel like I was on Hideki at Farmers in Phoenix, so a bit of a spinning in a bit of a headspace.
Yeah,
But his
me too.
best is as good as anyone in the world. He showed it yesterday on a major championship venue. It was freaking awesome. So good to him. Congrats to all his backers who either got on or just stayed with the cause there. Cause yeah, I sort of
A
thought that
hundred and
moment
a
was coming
hundred and
and I jumped off.
130-1 heading into Sunday.
We're back. A lot of
Um,
guys. Yeah, I'm sure yeah. If you
don't
want
get me.
Andy's take on what those two guys in the leading pair did, go find his
Ah.
feed, listen to his podcast. He did a long piece on it. We're certainly not rehashing it here. Hopefully, there's a
Ah.
winner amongst us for Mexico. Some exciting tournaments ahead as we hit Florida. So good times, and then we're in major season. Andy, smash that like button, subscribe. These will drop right in. Appreciate everybody supporting these videos from Andy and I. For Odds Checker, check us next week. We out.